number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Big time, lot of sun. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me. Yeah. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. It's running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me. Big time. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. That's a lot of crime. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
And what's up, everybody? DJ Yoakley with you here, alongside a few of my friends for the Ysn Power Hour for Friday, January 21st, 2022. Or, if you're looking at my graphics that I made, it's 2,222, because my fat fingers hit the 2 an extra mark, and people like to tell me about the mistakes that I make. So there we are, to start off the show. A little bit of shame for the head honcho here, but as we do each and every day, we go to On This Day in Sports History. Guys, and I need you to listen real close to this one, because it is a dandy. All right? CJ, Donnie, Amo, on this day in sports history in 1986, 100 people chose to participate in the nude Olympics race at 38 degrees in Indiana. Is there any amount of money that you could ever think of that you would completely, I guess you could say, participate in this? Are they allowed shoes? That's my first question. Are they allowed socks? That's my second question. Where are you allowed to put the socks? That's my third question. How much money would it take for you to participate, if they even still do this, in the nude Olympics in Indiana? CJ.
A lot. Just a lot. An almost unimaginable amount.
Just a man in his beard.
Yeah, in his beard.
Just a man in his beard. Donnie Riccatelli.
Well, here's what would happen is people would pay me to keep my clothes on. So I would be making a ton of money one way or the other. So,
I don't want to say that I can envision this, but if there's anybody that I can envision doing this race, it's you with a hat, a scarf, gloves, high socks, and nothing else.
Oh, man. I'd have to have at least some whitey tighties. There's no way. No way. They'd be paying me. I would be the fastest billionaire on the planet because they'd be paying me to keep my clothes on. I
was at the pool. Amo, how much? Oh, boy. There he goes. He's gone. See you later.
He didn't want
Amo
to
is
answer.
out. See, he's frozen now. So we're down to the three amigos here. That's not my bag. The nude Olympics. But in 1986, 100 people at 38 degrees. 38's not bad, right?
No.
38's not
that's
awful.
good football weather.
Yeah. All right,
Just
you're
not
back.
nude.
You just wanted Donnie Rick's spot, is what you wanted.
No, I got a call. Killed me.
How much money to participate in the nude Olympics?
I think the more question is am I allowed alcohol? Because if
Oh,
alcohol is
100%.
involved, money may not need to be given. Just saying.
Would you, because usually when people do marathons, there's like in groups, like in pairs, they take somebody with them as support. Who would you take to support you and vice versa during one of these races?
I feel like I'd have to do it alone. Because there's no way anybody would let me do that.
Your wife wouldn't let you give you the go ahead on this?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm with you. Well, in 1986, 100 people participated, so congratulations. I don't know that we want to know the outcome of who won this, because I can probably safely say nobody won that race, watching or participating, because somebody had to chart it and make sure that nobody cheated. So I don't know what you look for in that scenario, but there you have it. And Chris Sigler chimes in and says, if this took place after an Eric Church concert, I may unknowingly volunteer to do it. That's the go-ahead. Jeff Collins is going to get us transitioned well into the next spot. What a night for high school girls. Brookfield with a big win and Faith Stellato has ice in her veins, and there is no doubt about that. We got a lot of girls basketball to talk about. But Amo, I know I owe you this. Donnie, I know I owe you this. CJ, I know you could care less about this. See this? This might as well be our power rankings right now, because there it goes, buddy. Gone, completely done. It's an absolute disaster, and next week is going to look completely different. Let's go over some of the scores from last night as Bob Weekly. There is no way anyone won't see
Absolutely,
Amo.
Bob. Absolutely.
I love it.
He's not wrong.
I'm not going to say... Listen, the four of us, there's nobody that wants to see that. Actually surprised I haven't got a text message yet and said, don't even think about it. Leading us off, Springfield Tigers, the Lady Tigers, beat up on the Sebring Trojans last night, 67-18. Amo, I know you have that game on the boys' side tonight.
Yep.
Do you think it's going to be similar to that number tonight? As these teams pretty much in the same range where they're at. The boys' side maybe gets the leg up on where they're at because of the power rankings and being undefeated.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I got to watch them. I forget Lowville the first time. I was impressed, and I did 2 or 3 Lowville matches before that. So I'm excited to see this team live. I haven't got to do them live, so I'm interested to see that. And then I don't know when the last time they won at Sebring was. Did they win last year?
I know it was a close game. I remember it was a close game.
Yeah.
I can't remember if Sebring won or not, to be honest with you.
And especially after losing to Latonia, I'm guessing the first quarter, Sebring
Wasn't that
can
the
make
Dylan Johnson
it
game?
interesting. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm interested to see what happens. I got my money on Skittles on Springfield.
Attaboy. Way to come through with the Skittles. The Latonia Bears, Lisbon Blue Devils in action last night in AUAC, and it was the Blue Devils, Ryan Snyder's Blue Devils, coming up again with a big win, 41-40 over the Bears. So another big win for Lisbon. They continue to build that program, a very young team to be able to put things together, and it's exciting to see. You're starting to see they got that one win over East Palestine, and it seems like everything's kind of loosened. Or I should say Columbiana. They got that win over Columbiana, and everything's kind of loosened up for them, for the Lady Blue Devils. So congratulations to them on a big win last night, a 1-point victory. Sometimes, Donnie, those 1-point games are the toughest to beat or toughest to win because everything tightens up at the end there.
So if you would have seen when I can't remember the young lady's name that hit that 3-pointer against Poland, but if you could have seen the absolute scare and what was cool, what was cool about the so I was watching obviously the Brookfield Liberty game because we'll talk about that, but what was cool about Struthers is they were able to use multiple cameras, and they showed the picture of that ball dropping through the hoop, and you could see the look on the Poland girl's face, like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And then, like you said, it just tightens up, and now it's like, okay, how can we figure this out to where we can execute? Because there was basically 5 seconds left in the game, so that was a tough one for Poland. I mean, kudos to Struthers for showing up and balling out. I mean, what Needler have, like 23 points or something last night? She was a stud. So, and Connie Kugras, man, she really battled
from the free throw line.
Yeah, it's 21 points for Connie, and she had that one miss that towards the end of the game that just I'm sure that's going to haunt her for a little bit. The competitor that she is, I'm sure she's going to make sure that whoever they play next is in trouble.
Well, you know who they play next is that South Range team, and
good luck, again, South Range.
I think it's we've said it before. Anthony pointed it out last night. I think in our text, Tony, it's South Range is the only team that has defeated Poland in the last few years in the NE8.
Right.
Until last night, and now Struthers joins that list. So
yeah,
very, very interesting stuff. The United Lady Eagles, man, are they playing some good basketball right now. 70-28 winners over Wellsville in EOAC action. And then the game that I had last night, Columbiana and Valley Christian, I was honored to be joined by EB. And I got to point this out, guys, because you don't see this very often. And I don't know if you even heard about this yet, but Camille Zentner, who was injured, fractured her ankle, same ankle I believe that she did last year, was in a boot to the open public as she should be, as she's rehabilitating. She gets a start last night. She takes the boot off, goes in, puts her glass slipper, so to speak, on, and they open the game with Camille Zentner getting a bucket at the end. And the interview with Camille, the interview with Tori Long, and the interview with Dave Chrisman were phenomenal, because the only person that knew what was going on was Coach Chrisman. And he approached Erin Agresto prior to the game and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. She doesn't even know about it yet, because he didn't want Coach Agresto to maybe say, no, I don't want to do that, or not that would ever happen, but you just never know in a conference game what's going to transpire. And I gotta tell you, for her to have that, the pressure she had to feel, because you get that open look, there's nobody around you, and Tori said, all I told her before the game is, you better make it, because you're not getting a second chance at it. But sure enough, Zentner popped it in, and then Valley Christian went the other way. Columbiana gave them a gimme. The game started 2-2, and then Columbiana goes on to win 35-19. Not the prettiest of games that Columbiana played last night, but a win for their seniors nonetheless. And maybe I don't want to say a passing of the torch, so to speak, but Tori Long and Cassie Spate, the seniors that were playing for the majority of the game, we saw maybe one of those torch passes to Ellie Venetia, who was a freshman this year, and she's put in a ton of work. And you're starting to see a little bit more confidence in shooting the ball, because as we know, is when you're a freshman and you've got upperclassmen around you, if you shoot the ball, you're going to have to answer for it whether you make it or not. So it's interesting to see freshmen still having to go through that. You think by now that would be over, that whole process be over, but it's not. So very cool to see last night in Columbiana. Good family in Ellie's family. They're actually from Palestine. Great people, love them to death. And I know Ellie's put in a ton of work, and it was nice to see Tori and the crew last night, and Coach Chrisman kind of tipping his cap to his seniors. So very, very cool. Something I've never seen in person. So it was very, very cool. All right, more scores. Waterloo, 39-34 winners over Western Reserve last night. Waterloo getting their name in the thick of things as we continue down that path. Louisville comes up short 54-34 against Jackson Milton on the road. Girard comes up short 42-25 against Jefferson. The Lady Rebels coming up short against Champion 66-35 on the road. The Lady G-Men of Garfield, big winners, 57-19 last night. McDonald comes up big. Donnie, your home court, 54-24. It was actually on the road, so I take that back. Your home team gets win by 30 last night in MVAC play. Lakeview comes up short by 2 to South Range. That was, to me, one of the surprises of the night. The NE8 was all over the place last night, where the Raiders win by 2 over Lakeview. Excuse me. A very good Lakeview team, but South Range just 2 points better last night, coming on back-to-back nights, which is tough. You play Canfield, and then you have to go and play conference play. And then, Donnie, the game you talked about, 50-49 at Struthers Wildcats, their first ever NE8 victory over the Poland Bulldogs in girls basketball. There was a lot of people watching this game, and there was a lot of people surprised. And then I think Struthers, if it's still standing after last night, you got to give credits to Face Stiletto. Ice water intervenes, hits that three-pointer, blinks, or doesn't blink rather, smiles in the face of adversity. And Struthers with a big victory. You've had your fair share of shots at the buzzer. Talk to me about what's going through your mind.
Oh, first of all, she was so wide open too, which is crazy because Poland they love the pressure at the top. The top of the key is so vulnerable for Poland to get a steal, and she just was able to shake free to get out on that wing and have that wide open shot. And honestly, at that moment, you're not thinking. You're reacting and shooting, and you tell yourself, trust your shot, trust your process. That's why, she probably has shot 1,000 3-pointers over the summer. You know what I mean? It's repetition, muscle memory, everything else. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, you know what? I know the competitor that I am, I would want the ball every single opportunity at the end of every game, because I know that I'm going to trust myself, the work that I put in to knock it down.
So, from your standpoint, now keep in mind, number one, Faith's brother is a Westminster grad and did play for the Scrappers this past year. So, a family full of competitors. Do you always want that shot? Like, always want that shot at the end of the game? Even if you're not open, you just want to be the person that chucks it up because you have that high of belief in yourself? Or, as I've seen in especially the past week or so, I think there's such a thing as overpassing. You know what I mean? That extra pass sometimes leads to a pass that's not necessarily an open shooter, and they have to shoot at that point. So do you always want the ball in your hands from that standpoint to shoot it, or do you want to just make a play?
Well, I think you want to make a play. I mean, the thing is, if you have high basketball IQ, if you have high IQ in any sport that you want the ball in your hands. I mean, you want to be able to say, I know that my team can trust me to make the right decision. And, making the shots all that much more glorious, obviously, but nothing wrong with making a sweet dime to finish the game either. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would want the ball. Other people would shy away from it. And that's the difference between people that say Brookfield's going to lose by 10 and people that sit on the panel. So.
Just wait.
I know.
2 more scores. Ursuline, big winners last night over Cheney, 47-10. Niles comes up short against Hubbard, 46-26. And the game that Donnie is just crazy to talk about right now. He's been chomping at the bit. The Brookfield Lady Warriors with a big 53-46 victory over the number 1 power-ranked Liberty Leopards. Donnie, I turn it over to you.
Okay. Now, Liberty is a great team. Okay? There's no denying that Liberty is a great team. However, I've said this all year, strength of schedule makes a major difference. And when you're not playing the caliber of teams that the other 5 in that top 5, top 6 have been playing, you're going to notice a major difference. Okay, case in point. West Branch beat Garfield by 30. Okay? Garfield beat Brookfield by 4. Liberty beat Crestview by 10. Brookfield comes out and goes ahead and beats Liberty at Brookfield, which they were up 13. I'm not reading that yet. You can put that up in a second.
Okay.
But Liberty was down 13. And I noticed something from Liberty last night watching that full game is they are not disciplined. Brookfield should have beat them at Liberty. They lost to them by 2 at Liberty. And Liberty honestly should have, maybe 2, possibly 3 losses, which puts them maybe still in the top 10 for our area, maybe the 8 or 9 spot. I promise you they're not going to be in my top 5 when I vote on Sunday, for the simple fact that they lost to a team outside of our top 10. And when you look at the way that all these other teams are beating up on each other, you can't fault that. You can't fault the fact that Salem went from 1 to 5 because they had 2 losses to Marlington. It's extremely mind-blowing, right? And tomorrow is going to be a huge game. Tomorrow is going to be a huge tell for Salem West Branch. However, whoever loses that game should not slide. You know what I mean? It's 2 incredibly amazing teams that we get to have the opportunity to witness them play tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm obviously I haven't been on the Liberty train all year. I feel like in the 15 years of coaching girls basketball, I think I have a handle on girls, how they play, teams, how they play, everything else, schedules, and you were going into a Brookfield gymnasium with Sophie Hook and Reardon being as competitive as they are, and Liberty just wasn't disciplined. They had 2 of their top 3 foul out of the game last night. Now, Sophie Hook did end up fouling out too, because she did end up getting a costly technical while the team was up by 7. But however, and whoever was calling the game last night, the 2 guys, they were awesome. Was one of them Richie?
No, I think it was Matt and Alec, who were on the show before us here.
Wow, he sounded just like Richie. I was like, man, that can't be Richie. But those guys were as hype gets, by the way. So you two, when you call that Salem West Branch game tomorrow, you better be as hype gets as like those guys, because they were full of energy, right? So
don't you
Sophie
worry,
Hook
sweet face.
Sophie Hook gets annihilated at the half court line. Okay, they don't call anything. Liberty ends up stealing the ball. Ball gets chased over into the corner. Well, Sophie gets called for the foul, and then says something to the referee about why didn't I get the call right there at half court, and they give her a technical. Now I understand, she's a junior. You gotta have cooler heads prevail in that instance, and you have to understand you don't want Liberty coming all the way back after you built that beautiful lead.
Right.
Keep your head in the game and understand that they missed the call. Just go make a play. You know what I mean? And Reardon was the one that did that and stepped up for them yesterday. So I just knew – I'm not reading any of these yet. I just knew going into that it was not going to be as easy as everybody was saying. All right, go ahead and put them up. I didn't
All right. We'll start with Jeff Howard. All right, here's Jeff Howard. It says, all right, we get it, Donnie. Now we're never going to hear the end of this. Okay. And then we've acquired a new listener – new viewer, I should say, Jeff Collins, as the head coach of Georgia Tech, put Brookfield ahead of Springfield in the power rankings. Garfield played West Branch first game of the year. He adds, things changed. Canfield blew out West Branch, but I take West Branch now. If West Branch and Garfield played, it would be much closer. Now go Jackets.
Hey, listen, I agree. I understand that. And things happen. Teams get better as the season goes. If they don't get better, then you're poorly coached. But no, I totally agree with that.
Well, let's not go that far, because at the end of the day, there are injuries that impact you later on in the season.
Sure.
Boardman.
Yeah, you look at that, and from my standpoint, Donnie, I think, and we've always said that this team is going to kick the rust, and they're going to be a handful, in the first week of February, as opposed to the first week of October or November, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So when you look at these teams, that's why to me the power rankings are so cool. And I don't always agree with them, but that's the beauty of it. When you have somebody votes Salem at 6 or Salem at 9, after one loss, they're entitled to that. And
they fully are.
Yeah.
And that's the best part about us having an opinion. That's why it's so great. Like, we can sit there and argue and say, what are you talking about? It turns into a debate. And honestly, somebody might hate Salem and never put them in the top 10. That's their prerogative.
But the way it works is it's a point system, right? It's an algorithm that we've developed. It's not like the USA Weekly top 10 that they do every week in college football or anything like that. But we have an algorithm that keeps people true. Yeah. So it's not you throw out the top one and throw out the bottom one, but it's an algorithm that you go, okay, how many points do they get? How many points do they get? And people, we've been asked, I can't tell you how many times. Well, how do you do it? Listen? We do the big dogs every week.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to cheat, they're gonna cheat the system, and we're trying to make this as true as possible so it makes conversation. I think that's CJ. That's the whole point of this. Is conversation is good to have around these, because teams like Liberty may not even get a word in edgewise if it's not for them being at the top of the rankings this week.
True.
Right, and that's the. I didn't know if you were pointing to me or, but and that's the cool thing about it. I may not know, much about these teams, but there's people that know a lot more, and then they can put their input into it. And I think that's the exciting part. They may not have a show, they may not have a platform to, present their arguments, but they can at least make a statement. DJ Folkley loves it. It's his favorite thing.
DJ Folkley's, I mean, you can't be my brother if you don't have my last name. That's I don't know how that works. I'm not. I'm pretty sure that's not the way it goes. But let's go to Anthony's. Liberty's so young. It's been a positive for them all season, but last night lots of young mistakes, especially.
And he's 100% right on that. But if you're allowing one of your players to constantly shoot 3-pointers 8 feet behind the line, then you have issues. Like they were allowing her to shoot 3-pointers 8 feet behind the line constantly. So go ahead with the other.
Amo, what's happening with West Branch boys? Is it time to jump off the hype train?
Girls, I was on the hype train. Boys, I've not been on the hype train.
Did you ice it down a little bit?
So I think West Branch is the Bennett. Unfortunately, they didn't get to play Canfield for us to view, and Hoover. So I would say they're probably their two toughest games outside of the EBC. We haven't got to see, and it seems like just watching them, it's Drew DeShields and Jackson Hendershot right now, and nobody else is willing to step up and take the ball off of those two. Like in the beginning of the year, they were playing great team basketball, I thought, like passing around. You didn't know who was going to be the leading scorer, right? I think the first night, Joey Jackson, the freshman, went off, and he's kind of taking the back seat a little bit. I think if they can get back to team basketball, I like them, but I mean, EBC is so tough.
It's a grind.
I think, in the boys, I mean, you got Alliance. Obviously, they beat West Branch back-to-back. Then you got Marlington boys. You got West Branch. You got Canton South, who can surprise absolutely anybody because they're young and they're willing to shoot 20 feet behind the line. And Carrollton, Carrollton always gets a surprising win at some point throughout their play. And then if Salem, I mean, I watched Salem play Marlington boys last Saturday. They're starting to put it back together. I think if they can put it back together, there's another team that could surprise somebody, and they'll give West Branch a game. I mean, they always, right? I mean, that's a game.
Salem's
one team could be undefeated, and the other team couldn't win, and that'll be a 2-point game.
Salem's battling team chemistry, and I feel like they're always battling team chemistry from that
It looked
standpoint.
like it was back, though, DJ, against Marlington. I mean, they had a lead for 3 quarters. They played well. In the fourth, they made those small mistakes that add up, right?
Here we go.
Yes.
Mikey G says he can't wait for this game. I know for a fact he is just sitting there like Mr. Burns. Excellent.
Listen,
I think that'll show a lot about West Branch.
The easy game plan, game strategy against Canfield is guard the 3-pointer. Those guys just love to let it fly. I don't understand what their thought process is.
Every kid loves to let it fly nowadays.
Yeah, but you got a kid like Gurdich down low that can do some damage, and I just feel like he never gets the opportunities. Not enough.
Who's the sophomore? Who's the big sophomore for them too? He's a oh man, can't think of his name in the starting line.
It's escaping. You're talking about
Schneider?
I think you're no.
I
think you're talking about number 31.
Yeah.
He lets
played
it fly.
well.
He's good.
Yeah.
But man, those kids they just
name.
love shooting the 3-ball. And honestly, if you play pack line defense against them, they're gonna struggle.
Jake Gurnick's a stud. I'm just gonna put that out there. I mean, he's one of the best big guys in our entire network. If I had to pick, he would be the big guy.
He'd be on the short list, right?
Yeah, I mean Rothwell's up there. I mean, I think Rothwell's coming on strong, but he's young. Isn't he a sophomore? I think. If
so.
Quinn was here, he'd be able to chime in. I think Rothwell's dating his sister. So. My brother's back. West Branch should have won against the Lions the second time, but missed Drew. 2 foul shots for the win with 0.5 seconds left in regulation. The Lions won in overtime.
Correct. And I would put money on Drew making those any other time.
Okay, so now what we have to do, guys, is after the break, we've got Humpty Dumpty fell off hard last night. So our power rankings brought to you by Armidas Kachina. We have to put it back together. Maybe give the people a say in this. Maybe they can influence some of the voters on this panel. Maybe they can influence some of the people across the way.
CJ, do you vote?
God, no.
CJ turned it in one time. It was all PA teams. I was like, what is this? And the Pirates weren't even in the top 10.
I'm putting Pirates number 1, baby.
You're going to be alone, buddy. You're going to be sitting at that bar all by your lonesome. When we come back from the break, we're going to make a case for some teams that maybe aren't on the top 10 right now in the power rankings, or maybe make a case for our number 1 moving forward, regardless of victory or defeat. Coming up in the next segment block here in the Ysn Power Hour. Back after this.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
All right, we're back here on the YSN Power Hour. Missing Amo right now. I'm guessing he got a call maybe. A couple things to clean up here. During the break, I got a text message. Not only, guys, remember I told you about the graphic to lead off the show. Not only did I get the year an extra 2, but I had it for the January 22nd, which apparently is tomorrow. So I'm sorry. It's been an interesting start to this day, and I was not mentally prepared with 19 games on the network tonight.
Insane.
I wanted to make sure that that the games were right, and I didn't even think about the date. So I will stand corrected. I bow down to the great people that make graphics. I'm not the best. I am not the best, and I'm not even close. Secondly, CJ, I was texted by my wife. There is a nudist colony in your county.
Ooh. Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
And you didn't even tell us about it.
It's in.
He's the president.
Oh, where's it at? It's out by Ambridge, I'm pretty sure. But
did you say he's the president?
Oh, yeah.
That's why he's
right.
up in that cabin. He's overlooking.
Yeah, if I showed you outside, it'd be a little bit disturbing. So.
Love it.
Those aren't bears.
No.
Oh, man.
They're BARE. Bears. Can we get back to the topic, please?
No, it's too good. Wow. Let's go to let's take a look at last week's. Well, I guess technically still this week's power rankings for the girls. There you see it. Liberty no longer perfect. 13-0 on top. Jumped from 4 to 1. West Branch number 2. Poland with that loss. Will they slide? We'll have to wait and see, but I'm sure there's going to be a case to be made for them as well. Louisville at the number 4 slot. I think they have the most to gain here, other than Salem with a win tomorrow against West Branch could make a jump. I think they could jump right back in that 1 seed if they're not careful with a win over West Branch. You look at Howland, they've been grinding. Garfield's been grinding. Canfield has been back and rolling over teams. Waterloo with a big win last night. Springfield with a big win last night. Guys, when you look at this, Donnie, we'll start with you. Who's in? Who's out?
Well, Liberty immediately goes to the 5 spot for me. And then I would put now my synopsis of tomorrow's game is going to go like this. Salem is going to pull out another close victory over West Branch because of their defense and their tenacity. So I would go, in my opinion, I would put Salem back at 1. I would leave West Branch at 2. Poland would slide to 4. And Howland and Louisville would have to battle it out, which I believe, didn't Howland beat Louisville head-to-head?
I'd have to go.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they may have beat them. I can't remember if it was them. I thought it was Howland that beat them head-to-head. So I would move Howland into that top 5, and maybe Louisville back at 6.
Look at Joe Gatto. We got Joe Gatto commenting from the Practical Jokers.
I love it, guys. This is great. But what's crazy is I think you're talking about like 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. You know what I mean? It's like to throw somebody in the 6th slot out of this top 6 right now is a little unfair. But Liberty's definitely on the slide. I think Liberty loses to West Branch, Salem, Poland, Louisville, Howland, Canfield, Garfield. They didn't lose to. So I mean, yeah, I'd put Liberty at 6. So
Siggy confirming Howland did defeat Louisville.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Siggy. See, this is why we rely on people like Chris Sigler.
Mm-hmm.
My man is a walking encyclopedia with the amount of information he has. So,
and he also knows where the nudist colony is, apparently.
Enon Valley. I'm not driving through there.
Did you hit a deer? I don't know what I just hit.
I'm just going. Keep on going.
It looked like it had antlers, but I'm not sure.
But Amo, what would you do in this situation? Sorry, I didn't mean to be like a lead.
Yeah, so I'm with Jeff. I think Brookfield jumps back into the top 10. Now, I don't know who I would take out at this point. But I think the winner of Salem West Branch is 1. Now, had Poland won, I think I would have probably put Poland 1, and then maybe Salem 2, West Branch 3. But with Poland losing, that kind of opens up the 1 and 2 spot to West Branch and Salem, I think. Now, if West Branch gets blown out, I may change that. But I think Louisville can jump up. I think Howland can and should. And Liberty, I'm not sure where I would put them right now. I don't know if I'd put them over Howland.
I think the 6th slot. I think Donnie's spot on. I think the 6th slot would be.
That's what
ideal.
My initial assumption would be 6 right now, right above Garfield.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I don't want to take Waterloo out because I think Waterloo's good. And it's like, Sigler and I were talking, or Nick Rome and I were talking at work. Like, if you're doing a true power rankings of YSN, like on teams, right, you probably wouldn't put Liberty and Waterloo in there just because, can they really compete with some of these teams? Like, if they were to actually play? But no, you're just going off of who they played and
why wouldn't you put them in there?
I'm just saying for
in girls basketball, and I think Springfield proved it with boys basketball against
Division
Poland.
2 and 3 and 4.
I think Liberty and Springfield and Waterloo and Garfield, the MVAC is they can beat anybody on any given night. You look at that, and I think we're seeing that more down the stretch here as things tighten up. The basketball is getting better. Last night we saw East Palestine and Southern. East Palestine lost by 2, I think. So, yeah. And East Palestine doesn't have a win this year. So,
I just heard from a little birdie that Salem and Liberty played multiple times, and it was never ever close.
Well, Salem.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, if you were to actually put all these teams together, YSN would be a different ranking, but you're just going off of
you can't because they don't play each other.
Yeah,
it's just like Cincinnati. Cincinnati wasn't a top 4 team in football.
No, I agree.
But
just because they beat Notre
so
Dame,
you got to throw them in there.
but DJ, I do love the fact that we have a top 10 of YSN schools power rankings, and you didn't split it up between big division, small division.
Can't.
I love it. I love it because they all. And somebody put that Brookfield deserves to be in the top 10. They really do, but who are you taking them? Who are you putting them over? Because Garfield beat them.
Springfield, right?
Springfield beat them. Springfield beat them this year. And Springfield, I know, again, they beat them early in the season. Yeah, that's when it's scheduled. But who do you put? Because
you
Waterloo
gotta win games.
Because you gotta win games.
Yeah.
It's what we talked about. So the Liberty was voted in as number 1 this week.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, it'd be hard to get them out of that had they won last night.
Well, I knew they weren't winning last night, so.
We all know.
Jeff Howard, you got that? Did you hear that, Jeff Howard?
And do they play Garfield again coming up? Did you say that,
sure.
Don?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And where's that game going to be at?
Right.
Liberty has home court advantage, and that's about it. Now I don't like DJ Folkley. Come on, man.
Why would my parents name 2 DJs in the same family, by the way, if we were brothers?
Hey,
I don't know. Ranked 8 to 12 is razor thin.
100%, Chris. I agree. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe I have a great idea for power rankings. Maybe we don't do it this year. Maybe we do it next time. But I love the on the bubbles. Let's do the on the bubbles.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Who else got votes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and you voted for Heartland Christian on the boys, right?
I did.
Yeah, I got them at 10.
And see, this is why you guys are the problems, because every week it's going to be somebody different on the bubble because they're going to get 1 vote, and it's going to be one of you jackamos, and it's going to be just so you can get them on the graphic.
I just think Heartland deserves to be talked about.
I'm not taking that away, but Amo, this is not a charity. This is a power ranking.
I agree.
I agree. Go ahead. And I like Heartland. You know how much I love Josh Scott. You know how much I love Johnny Buckets and the entire staff there. And I love all of our teams equally. But this is the problem: is if we're gonna do this, you got to do it right, and you can't. There's a difference between charity and champions, and we're looking for a champion here because what we want at the end of the season is we want people to understand how good these teams are going into the tournament, and that because once we're in the tournament, we can't do this anymore.
And Liberty and Brookfield will match back up in the tournament, right? I mean, if stars align, right? Matchups align, right? Correct? Because aren't they in the same?
See, here's where we differ. Singler talks about South Range a lot.
Yeah, I disagree, Sig.
I listen, and I love Fish. You can go check my Twitter profile. I love Fish so much, but I don't think they're there. That was a beautiful suit the other night. I just don't. But the way that they played against Canfield, I don't think that they're there. And Canfield's what are they 6? 8?
7.
So I mean,
7th, I think.
They got beat by 30. You know, that tells you what. Anthony said South Range too, but then he quickly corrected himself and was like, "Well, you know, like
I do like the fight that Struthers has been putting out there lately though too, and that's why I think if you put a little on the bubble, it'd be fine."
Anthony says, "Don't be a prisoner of the moment." Oh, he's taking this personal. Brookfield still has some stuff to prove. Lost to Garfield on Monday, any given day, right? Great game for sure, but they still have to play champion twice and Garfield again.
No, I like it. Listen, and Anthony has very valid points. Him and I argued about Liberty when he did the Boardman game last week. Him and I argued back and forth about Liberty because, you know, he's like, hey, they beat everybody that was in front of them, and they beat them the way that they were supposed to beat them in front of them, right? And that's true, you know. However, I think of strength of schedule, and if you had like opponents who, if they played one another like these other top 5 teams have, they've all played each other, and that's why there are losses, and that's why there are numbers in the loss column for those teams because they played one another.
And that's the thing is you're looking at like we got Division 1 or 2 teams playing Division 4 teams. Like that's not going to be fair. You can't match that up and say, okay, well, naturally the Division 2 team or Division 1 team is going to beat the Division 4 team. Yeah, I agree with any given day, but there's a difference in the level of basketball that they're playing throughout the year. So to say Salem or West Branch is going to be the number 1 regardless because, you know, a Springfield can't match up. I mean, that's just like, but you got to say who's playing the best basketball. And that's the way I look at it. And I know everybody votes differently and they have every right to. But who's playing the best basketball right now? Who's beating the teams that are in front of them and beating them handily, and they're playing they're doing a good job of it.
Like they just didn't beat teams. They, beat them pretty bad.
I'm lost on this one. Averages 25 a game. Crystal Monica. I've never heard.
Never heard of her ever.
Wrong South Range.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever. Whatever.
Interestingly enough, I only knew one South Range. I was like, I just did a South Range game the other day. I know they lost one player, but it wasn't a Kristen Luwanica. Okay, so quickly, guys, we got to go over the boys' side too. So there's going to be shakeups in this. We got some big games tonight, big games tomorrow. Camel Memorial, your number 1. Liverpool at number 2. Springfield at 3. Cheney at 4. West Branch at 5. Boardman is your 6th slot. And then you got Louisville, Ursuline, Mooney, and Howland rounding out the bunch. Let's go Amo first. Who do you see staying and who do you see going?
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Well, Cheney and Cam.
Cheney and Cam
tomorrow night.
Go play tonight?
Tomorrow,
okay.
So there's going to be some
Branch
shake up there. West Branch tonight.
They got Carrollton.
They're not on our schedule, so
maybe they don't. I want to say they play Carrollton.
They played tomorrow, because Mikey's got the game.
Mooney
That's the Canfield
and Howland would be the ones that would potentially leave.
They play tonight against each other.
They do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
at Howland, and my money's on Mooney. Anybody want to bet me?
No, because I'd go Mooney. I The team I think that could hop up in the next couple weeks is Louisville. They played Springfield tough the first time. If they can get back on there, and I think if Boardman can get healthy, they could shoot up there quickly.
They just had a loss, and I know DePietro wasn't there, but
they win that game with DePietro easy.
But you sit there and you like.
Well, I don't know.
Can you not penalize them because they lost a player?
I think
you should penalize.
Really
every team has that same situation.
Right.
I think Louisville's playing some of the best basketball right now.
I would agree. I would agree with that. And Louisville Marlington's coming up, is it not?
That really?
I think so. I think that's what I heard.
That's going to be a good matchup. Those two match up well against each other, I should say.
I think who's absolutely solidified themselves in where they are is Springfield at number 3.
Yep.
That win over Poland just
they may
locked
lose
them.
to Sebring tonight.
That's not going to happen, but kids wish for big things at Christmas too.
Dude, that's a little bit of a gauntlet for West Branch,
especially at Carrollton. They always surprise somebody.
You say that about every Carrollton sport. Like if they played squash, you'd be like, man, Carrollton squash. They sneak up.
Dude, it's that trip. If West Branch takes the back roads, you get sick the entire way there. No joke. My mom took me home one time, and it was the easiest trip I ever had in my entire life.
Stop.
But
my mom took me home one time?
Oh, it was terrible. Carrollton's the worst trip ever for West Branch people, and they'll attest to it.
Sebring on a bus or Wellsville on a bus is rough from Palestine.
Yes.
Is rough. I remember that. Those were the days you're like, it's not that you didn't want to play the game. It's the trip was like you couldn't eat before because anything you had would be all over the floor.
Game I want to watch is Salem-Canton South. I want to see if Salem boys can get it back on the track. Because if they can get it back on the track, the EBC just gets a lot harder, especially with who they have left to play.
Now that Coach Andres knows who he has, right? Who's on board, who's all in, who's bought in, I think now he can take that next step with the Quakers. And Drew Weir stepped up a lot. You've seen Brock Young step up a lot. Cade Rome. I mean, that kid, he wasn't getting the minutes that he deserved, as far as I was concerned. Kid's one of the hardest workers on the floor all the time, and one of the best kids you could know. And his sister has a better nickname than anybody in the entire county.
She loves it, by the way.
Good. I hope she does.
Yeah.
She's earned it. Swatzilla.
Who wins that one-on-one matchup between Cammy and Cade?
We're just not going to... I mean, we'll stream it if they want to have it, and we'll put Skittles down on it, but it's going to be interesting.
Chelsea and Connor from Marlington, Evanich. I've seen those two go one-on-one.
We don't recognize Marlington because they're not a YSN school.
Yeah, come on, Dukes. Come on, Dukes, let's go. Jump on the train.
You know what time it is, boys? Anybody got to watch?
CJ knows what time it is. It's only his third time talking on the show.
Time for me to talk.
MLB.
It's CJ's favorite time of the day. It is the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark? You know the rules, gentlemen. Anything on the board can be promoted or downgraded via your time to shine here. So, CJ, do you want to go first or last?
I'll go first because it's nothing special today because baseball's not going on, so I won't talk about that. Dang it. But I do have a positive spark.
Positive?
Yeah, it's positive.
You're the best negative sparker ever.
The YSU women's basketball program. Listen, I don't follow basketball. I don't know much about it, but they're so gifted, so talented. 15-2. Oh my goodness!
The game winner the other night.
Just bring pride back to YSU right there. They're so good. I think it was about a decade ago they went 0-30, and as recently as like 2017 they went 9-20, I think it was. But I mean, just a turnaround that's so nice to see. And the boys, the men, they're nothing to scoff at either. I think they're in 4th place, but. So good for the basketball programs at YSU.
Love the YSU women's program. We had a chance to be part of their golf outing, and Love Coach Barnes. I love what he's doing for the program. He lost so much to the transfer portal last year,
Yes,
and that's
he
why
did,
everybody's kind of scratching their head like, how are they doing this? A lot of it has to do with that coaching staff and the dedication they put in, and the kind of talent and character young ladies that they're bringing into Youngstown State. So CJ, great spark, my friend. But I will miss not having your passion for the negative here going into the weekend. But can I
Maybe
give a quick
something happens next week.
Can I give a quick shout out to you pulling double duty tomorrow for YSN, being a hero? So
yeah.
you'll be doing the Buckeye 8 girls tournament tomorrow at what?
Yep.
4
o'clock.
And then
4 o'clock.
heading down the road in East Liverpool and doing the Beaver Local Beavers game. So thank you very much, appreciate it, and getting some much deserved love on the network. So if you're looking for things to watch and things to do, CJ is going to be all over YSN tomorrow. So make sure you give him some love. Let's go, Amo.
Positive spark. What we do for the kids and the coaches. Going to Sebring the other night, they're all talking about how they love being able to watch the kids, and some of these kids deserve to be talked about more. I was talking to Noah and Elijah Frederick. They got some offers for football, Division III. I'll tell you afterwards. That's why you asked me why I was doing Sebring. I think kids from Sebring deserve to be, shown. They got some hard workers: Carter Halotnik, Cade Leisure, the Fredericks, Andrew Latham. All these kids deserve to at least be shown so they can give their tape out to any coach. That's why I love what we do. That's just not at Sebring. That's at every school, right? Fitch has them, Boardman has them, all of them. They deserve to be talked about, and that's why I like doing this. Because if we didn't do it, who's going to do it, right?
You're daggone right.
That's why not us, or why not us?
Why not us?
Butchering
Always.
stuff today. It's going to be bad. I apologize for Sebring, South Springfield. I see it is going to be a rough night, but hey, we're in it.
He's going to be like the dude from Major League.
We'll get there.
Bob Euchre. Let's go, Tony Ricks. What do you got?
Two good sparks, two positive sparks tonight. I get to call the game at East, the Boardman East game. See if Boardman can bounce back. Probably without Trey DePietro again for the second straight game, but I saw something in the boys in the second half against Harding that if they would have had that spark in the first half, they probably would have beat. Warren Harding. So, and then the second spark is I get to watch. It's going to be another good basketball game between.
Oh no! He got a call.
So,
I'll bet you he got a call.
So who are we thinking he's going to say? Who's the game?
I don't know.
Is he going to say Salem West Branch for Saturday, or is he going to say something else for Friday?
I don't know. Hang on. We'll get to him here in a second. All right, you left us cliffhanger. Who's the basketball game?
All right, it's going to be another good basketball game tomorrow that nobody's really going to talk about, and that's going to be Boardman girls versus Howland girls. I love any chance I get to watch Alyssa Pompea play. I think she's one of the top 5 players in this entire area. I think, without a doubt, she should be the Trumbull County Player of the Year. And if anybody in the media has any say so, you just got to watch this girl's body of work. She's been phenomenal all year. So they just, for some reason, when Mackenzie and Alyssa play against each other, it's just they make it fun. And tomorrow at Boardman's going to be a fun day. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be fun for you, brother. I'm excited. Mine is going to be a positive spark, maybe 2 positive sparks, depending on how you cut it up. Today marks birthday number 170 for Mother Fair Westminster. So happy birthday, Westminster. WC, love it. It's still my favorite place to be. It's where I met my wife, which means that the bachelor's degree that I got was just the icing on the cake, man, because that was everything that I ever needed in life. Was that lady who's watching this show religiously, doesn't watch anything else on television, on the internet. 3 to 4 o'clock, you do not call her, you do not mess with her, because she watches us and she loves the show. Critiques us very well, more me than you guys, because she just sits there and does this to Donnie. But on top of that, the student loans that I've been paying since I was just a puppy at 22 years old.
Oh, tell me they're
Guess
done.
what, baby? Rip them up, and I'm going to rip them up live on this show. But they are done this month. We're paying it off. It's all over, and I'm a free man. CJ, you're screwed.
I got 10 years. So.
God. I was on that 20-year plan where Obama said if you still pay after 20 years, they're all forgiven. I was like, well, let's see if I can just tank this a little bit. Yeah, that doesn't work. So, so there it is. Happy birthday, Westminster. Have a good.
Does that mean Z get a gift?
Huh?
Does that mean Z gets a gift now? Because
Z always gets gifts. Z gets toys just because he's good. You know what I mean? I miss those days. Just because you're not bad, you get nice things. Imagine that. You pay your bills, you get nice things. No, it doesn't happen. You pay your bills, you don't even get a pat on the back. You just get another bill the next month. So, Z, my guy, my dude is living the dream right now. Thank you all for tuning in for the Ysn Power Hour this week. Today, we'll see you again Monday with a new Power Rankings brought to you by Armida Kachina, guys. Have a great weekend, and we're excited to see you once again Monday, 3 to 4, right here on the network. Bye-bye.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network.